Welcome back, everybody, to the once again the Pike County Health Department's podcast, where we talk about great things. Sometimes we've had these conversations, and they're a little hard to understand or a little hard to get through because health can be so disturbing. Particularly when we talked about, I remember when we had this conversation not too long ago about teenage pregnancy. It really left a mark on me. It was really disturbing to see how many teenagers are doing. But today we're here to talk about something really, really cool. And I'm joined today once again by the lovely and talented Mrs. Tammy Riley. And today we have Miss Sandra May here to talk to us about a very special event that is very, very important to a lot of people. Well, half the population.
Right. It's important to everyone, I think, Jeff.
Oh, it's important to everyone.
Yeah.
Most important to the ones who have them. If you have
that's true.
them is what I say.
Absolutely.
So, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Tammy,
Thank you.
Sandra, tell us why you're here today. What are we talking about?
Well, we're here to talk about, number one, it's October, and I think everyone knows October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're here specifically to talk about an event that's coming up very soon, Pikeville Pink, which is a 1 mile walk, 5K, 10K event. The purpose of that event is to raise funds for a wonderful organization and to also raise awareness and hope around the topic of breast cancer.
So, Sandra, what's your involvement with Pikeville Pink? This has been going on for a very long time, hasn't it?
It has been going on a long time. It's been going on since 2012. A group of friends and I started the race to actually raise money and awareness for Susan G. Komen. We wanted to participate in a 60-mile walk that they were having, and in order to do that, we needed to raise money for breast cancer. And we started there thinking it was just going to be a one and done, and we had so much community support. You being one person who used to run ads for us in the paper.
Still do.
And you still do. But that's how long, we just had great community support, and it's been going on since then. COVID, unfortunately, put an end to it. And so with everybody getting busy, life getting in the way, we actually didn't pick it up after COVID. And then fortunately, Tammy and the health department decided to bring it back because so many community members wanted to see it brought back because it was one of the biggest runs, if not the biggest run in Eastern Kentucky.
I believe it was. But there was one caveat, and I said, I have to have Sandra willing to join the community committee. So we do have a committee that helps organize and put on the event because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And, Sandra was a founding member. She was still here in the community and had her finger on the pulse of the community. Everyone knows Sandra.
Sure.
And so I wanted to ensure that she was willing to serve on the committee. And of course, she stepped up and said she would.
And I was very thankful for that.
Right, exactly. And, so 2012, we started this thing. I remember being out there the first time. It was very exciting to be out there and be part of this thing, and a lot of fun. And it's grown exponentially since that.
Yes.
How many people are you expecting to this year? And it's all downtown Pikeville, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
right. All downtown Pikeville.
Uh-huh.
Start near the city park. Well, Sandra, first, I have a question for Sandra. And in I know it peaked, and it was definitely the largest foot race in Pike County. In 2018, 2019 was the last year. Did you peak a little over 1,000
Over
participants?
1,000 runners. Yes, it was unbelievable. And we have people, it's not just people from Pikeville, from the community. We have people from
Right.
the surrounding counties.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's definitely
Yeah.
pulls in a regional pull.
Yeah.
But last year when we relaunched it, so it was the first year we brought it back in 2024, we had over 400 participants. And many, like over 100 were walk-ons the race morning. So currently we are at 255 registrations, but we know that there's a price increase coming up in a few days. So what normally happens is we see a spike. So I'm expecting to see around 300, 350 before race morning. So I'm anticipating to exceed last year's registration numbers.
And the money goes to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which is
Well,
tell us where the money goes. Here I go. I'm lying again. Here I go. Not even 5 minutes into this thing, and I'm already starting to lie to you women.
No, that's okay. Well, the committee actually, we vetted a few potential organizations, and we decided to go with Kentucky Cancer Link.
Okay.
They're vetted. They serve Eastern Kentucky residents. We even had someone reach out to them, a breast cancer survivor, and request supplies. And they, responded very quickly. The individual received the supplies requested, which were quite expensive,
Sure.
in a short amount of time, no questions asked. So we were quite pleased. And the director of nursing, Stephanie Bentley, was very familiar, and the Kentucky Department of Public Health works with this organization as well. Or there's a connection. They're listed on KDPH's cancer website. And so we decided to go with this organization, and they attend in person.
Right. And being on this committee, Sandra, have you met the folks that are representing this committee, this
Yes,
organization?
yes.
How do you feel about, are you comfortable knowing that, when people spend, participate in this thing, that the money's going to be spent at that particular thing?
Absolutely. So, to your point, first of all, we started off with Susan G. Komen, and then there was we had a nonprofit here called Blessed Beyond Measure, where we put the
Right.
money, which we knew stayed local. So that was one thing that I think that was really important to the health department and to me, was that, being a former breast cancer survivor, still am, I guess now,
Yeah.
I guess should say a former breast cancer patient, it's important that the money does stay here because I know what it takes. Luckily, I have good insurance, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
So we were able to meet them last year, and like Tammy said, they were vetted really well, and we've heard good feedback of the monies coming back to Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, they may supply wigs, specialty prosthetic bras and devices,
Yeah.
screenings.
And
We work at clinic.
Also, don't they offer some sort of like emotional support as well? Isn't
Yep,
there?
there's definitely support
'Cause I know that
services there.
when women go through that, it's just devastating to them.
Absolutely.
Whole different
Right.
perspective. So
And even based on incomes, we have a cancer program in-house, women's cancer program, but it's income based. And if they don't meet our criteria, we work with Kentucky Cancer Link to see if they meet their criteria for screenings and so forth. So it's a wonderful resource.
well, that's good. So the event is October the 11th at the Pikeville City Park. It starts at 9:00. So you want to pre-register either through the QR code, go to the health department's website, look at the News Express's ads that we're putting in the paper for the QR code, pre-register, and it's you can either choose to go the 1 mile walk, 5K run, or 10K run. Now, I think I did the 10K run with me and my family doctor at one time, and there was a concert the night before, and I think I got sick within the first 500 yards, and he was surprised that I stayed with him, but that was when I was much younger and my hips were good. But so for
You did 6 miles. That's pretty good.
yeah, with a hangover, but that's a whole other
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Okay.
So with people like me, like I can't run anymore because I've
Right.
got bad hips and bad knees and bad.
Could you walk a mile? And not everyone can.
Walk to the bathroom back and forth.
You could
Just-
probably walk
Just
a mile.
come and support. That's
Well,
all we're
my-
trying to raise awareness.
My question is if people do want to come and support, they
Yeah.
just want to donate money, can they just go out there and just donate?
Oh,
$5?
absolutely. And we're going to have a lot of fun activities in the park. There's a bra decorating contest, quilt show, games,
Listen,
face
I
painting.
don't want to get involved with the broad decorating.
Okay.
Just listen,
Well, you can do the face painting, Jeff.
Yes.
yeah,
We'll
you know what?
we'll do like a little
So
like
many
kitten.
things going through the pea brain of mine right now that is just really bad. But I'm really glad that you guys do this. So and you're doing this because you got a stat sheet here. 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Okay,
That's correct.
horrible statistic.
That's correct. And we are seeing, and I was telling Sandra and I were actually talking about, she's a survivor, and we were talking about statistics and Pike County specifically. We do know nationally that our mortality rates are declining. We know that, and I looked at Kentucky. Kentucky falls about in the middle nationally for prevalence and statistically, and then Pike County falls about in the middle of Kentucky. But
Sure.
like to put a number to it, the 5-year average for Pike County, according to the National Institute of Health, is 52 women are diagnosed. That's all women, all ages, and all
A
stages.
year.
A year.
Wow. Well,
That's
here's-
looking at the 5-year trend.
This statistic, I think, is very enlightening. Routine breast cancer screenings save up to 37 lives
Lives a
per day.
day, yes.
A
And it's
day.
so important. And Sandra knows all about early detection and what that means as far as the 5-year survival rate.
Yeah, I actually did a self-exam and found my own lymph. When I was diagnosed, I actually then went to my OBGYN and had her check. She was convinced it was a cyst, but when I had my mammogram, which was already scheduled because I did do yearly mammograms, we found out, and unfortunately, it was breast cancer, but it was caught early. And that's the one thing, we really want to stress the importance of early detection, self-examinations
Sure.
to catch it early.
Well, I don't want to get too graphic, but you guys say self-examination. Men are suggested to do
Right.
self-examination.
1 in 1,000 men are also diagnosed.
So without getting too graphic, what do you look for if you're doing a self evaluation or self-detection?
Well, I will say that Andrea Adams, our nurse practitioner at the Pike County Health Department, will be on site during the event, and we do free breast examinations at the health department. Anyone that would want to come in and be educated about doing self-exams that don't understand how to do a self-exam, and I'll let Sandra elaborate if she wants, but you don't want to use like your end of your nails or pinch, and you want to make sure that you're using the fingertips.
Fingertips.
Yes, and again, I'm not the clinical expert on this, but I do know that you want to also make sure you include under your armpits
Notes, right.
and make sure that you're catching the lymph nodes and that you're doing that on a routine, regular basis, like the same time of the month, or the first of the month, the end of the month.
Yeah.
You want to add
But
anything
I
to
was
that,
gonna say,
Sandra?
if you do that regularly, they always say it's good when you're in the shower or taking a bath because it's easy to, move around. If you're soapy, it's easy to, do a self-exam. But I think if you do them regularly, especially women who've been told they have dense breasts, that they'll be able to tell a difference. They'll be able to feel a lump and not all
Right.
lumps.
It's about changes.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
about changes. And not all lumps, people shouldn't be scared and think immediately it's breast cancer because it could go away, the following
May just be a lipoma, which is a fatty cyst.
So that's kind of what I have going on.
Yeah.
I have to go back every 6 months and get an ultrasound. So those are some new recommendations. Is to have if there's density. And I have densities that I go back every 6 months and I have ultrasounds. So, and then there is a cyst there, but there's some density, but there's no change. That's what's important is that over time they're seeing there's no change there.
And that's the important thing.
That's the
So I
important
know
part.
that, I've got density too, but only that's up here.
Well, and I'll say, and not to interrupt, but really quick, just to piggyback on that, a lot of people think that, oh, I'm young, I'm only in my 20s, I'm only in my 30s, but no, everyone needs to start doing that as females. It's never too early to really start checking.
We're seeing a decline in rates for all women, all ages, but 40 and under, we're not.
What is the recommended age for women to start getting mammograms
40.
annually?
40 annually, unless just regular, no
Yeah.
family history, no issues with your
No
self-esteem.
smoking, nothing like that.
Yeah, 40 and over, and then as you get older, they can say every other year if everything's going well. But typically 40 and older.
And younger women, my daughter was growing up. I said, listen, it's not an evil sin to know your body and touch your body.
Right.
So, you've got to do that. You've got to
Right.
touch and feel.
Yeah.
And if you see something or you feel something that doesn't feel right or wasn't there last week or last,
Exactly.
Right.
say something because that could be a life-saving thing. Like you said, it could be just a lipoma. It could be just fatty scar tissue. It could
Right.
be nothing. It could be just, hell, it could be gas. Who knows?
Well,
Right.
and I
Well,
would
that's
say-
just the way I'm made, for example. And if there's no change,
Yeah, and I will tell you this, my OBGYN actually did a baseline at 35 years of age when I was 35, and it came back
2 years
clean.
ago?
Yeah, I wish. But and then I actually found doing self-exams back even at 35, I actually found 2 lumps that the mammogram at that time didn't pick up. Now we have much better mammograms. But when I actually showed him, they sent me for an ultrasound, and when I did the ultrasound, the person doing the ultrasound, the physician, couldn't even find one of the lumps, and he goes, "How did you find this?" I mean, I had to literally take his hand and
Right.
show him.
Right.
Luckily, it was just 2 fibrous adenomas, and they removed them. They said, "You're so young, let's just get rid of them. 99% sure it's nothing, but let's go in and get rid of them." But, that's the importance. Again, that was at 35 years old, and there's no family history there for me. You don't have to have a family history.
No, you don't have to. It's just one of the risk factors.
Yeah, and this sheet that you gave me says 85% of the diagnoses occur in people with no family history.
Right.
So that is, if that doesn't scare the ever-living crap out of you to go get this stuff done, I
Every
don't know.
woman,
every
yeah,
woman
and
should
just
start-
with the normal history, 40 and older, at any age, but definitely do your self-exams monthly,
So
early.
I'm a woman, I'm in the bathtub, and I'm feeling stuff, and I get scared. Can I call the health department and say, listen,
Oh,
can I
absolutely.
come and get it? And can you help me with this?
Yes, we have a nurse practitioner, our director of nursing. They do breast exams. But, if someone thought that they felt like a change, we definitely would make a referral
Sure.
to, a specialist and make sure that female had the capability, the resources to get the screenings that were necessary.
And
that's really where we do that linkage to
Sure.
parent to ensure that
Well,
that happens.
that's like anything else that the health department does, but this is just another added service that you're doing.
Yes.
So
We do free breast exams and also educate women on how to do self-exams so that they're doing them
sure, do it
appropriately.
correctly. Right.
We raised over 14. We were able to provide over $7,000 to Kentucky Cancer Link last year. So we're hoping that that's where that money goes,
Right.
so that they can help women who can't afford screenings. So that helps the health department so that we can provide services to even more women in our community. But that's the whole point of this, and the race is to raise money and raise awareness.
So the next thing is that if I am a woman over 40, which I'm not, but if I am a woman over 40, and I don't have health care and I can't afford a screening, can I call the health department and say, listen, I don't have health care. I'm 42 years old. I've got a history in my family. I need to get a breast exam. Can you help me?
We do free breast exams, Jeff, for any woman, but we also have a women's cancer program at the health department. So women who have no insurance and they meet the income guidelines, we have resources to assist them with the cost of the screenings.
When you say screening, does that mean a mammogram?
Yes,
or-
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, when I say screenings, and I guess that would include the self-exams as well.
Sure.
But screenings would be mammogram, ultrasound, and it depends on what they find. I mean, there's a lot of technology out there now. There's 3D mammograms, we do
Right.
PET scans, other types of screenings. So
The one statistic that you showed on here is that there's 2,500 men are diagnosed annually.
1 in 1,000. Yeah.
Tell me, we don't have those. How do we get that? Is it the same things? It's
It's the same thing,
as well?
self-examine any change that they would notice. They had different recommendations, but definitely self-exams and knowing if something's different.
Sure.
And that's not just lumps. There's also like skin changes, soreness, leaking. There's quite a few symptoms, and then unfortunately sometimes no symptoms until you do notice like a lump.
When I was diagnosed, I guess, I was talking to my surgeon. I told him prior to my surgery, I told him, I said, I just don't understand. I don't have any of these risk factors. I eat healthy, I exercise. I was going through everything, no family history, a long list. And he looked at me and he said, Sandra, do you have breast? And I said, well, yes. And he goes, that's all you need. And it's the same thing for men. In fact, one thing that was interesting, our first run that we actually had one of the winners was actually a man who was a breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
And he was
I
actually
remember
from
telling
North
you
County.
about that.
Yeah, and he participated.
Nice.
Because he wanted to, as a man, as a survivor, being diagnosed with cancer, he wanted to make people aware too. And he was sharing his story with others during a race.
So it's uncommon, but it's definitely men
Happen.
can get that diagnosis. And certainly, it's such a high prevalence for women. It's it's actually the second largest leading cause of cancer death for women is breast cancer, lung being first, and it's the second leading cancer diagnosis for women, skin being first. So it's just highly prevalent in, the female
Sure.
population. But like she was talking about risk factors, but basically aging, being a female
Sure.
and aging. So
Right.
if you're a woman, you're at risk. As you age, so each decade, the risk goes up.
The risk goes higher. Sandra, as a breast cancer survivor,
Yes.
what words of encouragement would you give somebody who's going through it now, who's scared of getting these things going on or getting the examination or scared of the results? I mean, nobody sweats more when they get their blood work done until they get the results back.
Right.
You never know what the heck you got going on in there.
Right.
But nobody likes to do that. So what kind of words of advice, encouragement would you give to somebody?
I would say, and Tammy mentioned this earlier, the earlier they find it, the better. just because you get a diagnosis, it's not a death sentence. My breast cancer was estrogen progesterone positive, which if you're going to get breast cancer, that's the one you want because it's easy treated and it's not as aggressive as someone else who's diagnosed maybe with a triple negative or something like that. But that being said, there are people who are diagnosed with some of the worst breast cancers as far as aggressiveness, and they're here with us today.
Now, I know triple negative survivors.
Yeah.
One in particular I'm thinking of is beyond her 5-year
Yeah.
survival.
So I would say, the most important thing is just to get diagnosed, to go see your doctor, to follow through with treatment, to have follow-ups. I still go once a year for my follow-ups, and I make sure I don't skip them. And then really just to know that you have community to support, you have, family, friends, just reach out as needed. I will say during Pikeville Pink, we always have people that are going through treatment. And I think for them, I know when I ran Pikeville Pink at one time when I had just finished my treatment. And it just meant so much to see the community around us embracing us. And so I would say, that's the most important thing.
That's a big part of the event, not just to raise funds, raise awareness, but to provide support and hope for those in our community.
And I think that's another arm or tentacle of the health department, what they do. So if somebody's feeling desperate, have no place to go, doesn't have a place to turn, and can't get that type of stuff, they can go right to the health department and get that stuff. And I think that's vitally important. So, well, I'm looking forward. It's going to be a great event again, October 11th at the Pikeville City Park. It's a 5K, 1 mile walk, 10K run, which I'm not going to do either one of them. I'll probably just go and I'm not going to play with the bras, but I'll just make a donation because I got my own problems. I don't need somebody else's. There's games and family night and fun and all kind of stuff like that. Ladies, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. It's very important to have this done. I look forward to a very successful event here. I hope we raise lots of money, and I hope we can save those tatas, baby, because we need them.
Yeah,
Me
that's
too.
it.
So, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.